And welcome to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast where we take your lovely video game ideas and turn them into the next AAA video game titles. I am one of your hosts, Blake Rea.
And I am your other host, AJ Hart. The
AJ.
one, the only, the Alpha and the Omega. That's what A stands for.
Well, actually, AJ, I do have to contest that because you know what? A friend of ours, a dear friend of ours, Rin, ran a poll on our Patreon Discord. Yeah, I am going to talk about this because it's the funniest fucking thing. So our friend, just totally unprompted, messaged our Patreon Discord to see who Rin messaged our Discord to see who they think is taller, you or me, and what our actual heights are.
Rin just asked how tall everybody thinks we are.
That's true.
And
That's
true. I don't want to say
true.
how tall we are. Actually, I think it's way better if we leave it as a mystery.
But I do want to give an idea of what some people said to see if people at home can be like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. Most people said you and I are about 5'4" at the most, somewhere around that mark.
No, I saw 5'4" at least.
At least?
But,
I saw most of them were in the 5 range. Like only once did they actually
it's 5
only
something. Nobody thinks that we're 6 foot.
But
I think it's pretty obvious that nobody on the internet thinks that we're 6 foot, Blake.
Well, I do want to state though that I think is great is that people do read that I am taller than you because you have short king energy, which is true because I am tall. I am taller than you. And I just think it's so funny that it's something I never really thought about, but I guess you and I have the energy.
It's so crazy that comes through the podcast, huh?
It is pretty crazy that everybody can just feel that, yeah, AJ has like little brother shorter than Blake energy. And I'm like, yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Does he though? Does he have that energy that makes you think that he would be shorter than you? It's so weird how he has the energy that makes you think, we're not going to go into this. Look.
Well, actually, I do have one other little just pre-ramble. I finished God of War, the first one, and I fucking loved it. I am so excited. I'm not going to talk about spoilers, because if you haven't experienced it yet, go experience it.
I'm glad that we can finally talk about this game, Blake Ray, because I've been thinking about it for a long time, ever since you picked it up, and I just wanted to ask you a big question.
Yes, what's up?
Do you think it's acceptable that Kratos continues to show and lead by example to his son that it's okay to do violence and hurt? Because I was watching some gameplay of that, and I'm like, oh, he's a dad now. And then I watched him rip a dude in half. And like, if I watched my dad rip a man in half, I don't know how well I would,
it was okay?
Yeah. Like, I'm just worried that Kratos is leading... I mean, like, yeah, I get it. The Draugr attacked first, but like, to rip a dude in half?
There is a great scene
the first scene in the game, this old dude shows up and he's bald and half naked, and Kratos doesn't even offer him a jacket. He just starts fighting him and beating him in the woods. And like, I just don't know if Kratos is like the right... It's just a toxic energy, don't you think?
Bro, he fucking destroyed a civilization. Like, I know that's... I'm sorry, spoiler for God of War 3, which is like a game from like 10, 12 years ago. I feel like the spoiler warning's fine on that. Fuck, most people know. Like, there's a reason he's in the Norse area now. He doesn't have a home to go to anymore. It's gone. The dude, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because there is a scene later on in the game where Atreus starts picking up on like how violent Kratos is, and then Kratos is like, yo, no, we can't do that. That shit ain't cool, man.
Kratos is like, actually, only I'm allowed to do violence. Actually, well, it's not cool when you do it because you're a baby toddler. But like, here's your job as my beloved son. When I grab a man and grab one leg and one arm and rip them in half down the sides, I need you to be in the corner saying, whoa, yeah, go dad. But I don't want you to pick up these habits.
You know, my favorite thing about the game, he doesn't do it for the entire game, but like the opening few chapters, though, for those that don't know, God of War, it's about like Kratos and his kid need to go on an adventure to...
It's a AAA title where you play as a bald man who's very gruff and mean, and he has a child. Like, it's a video game-ass video game.
Yeah. So but this is a kid that's never been like beyond his home forest before. So like everything he's seeing is so new and crazy to him. So my favorite thing that Kratos does is like anytime Atreus acts up, he's like, "Don't make me turn this adventurer around. I will take us home." And it is so consistently funny every time because it's just like it's the high fantasy version of like, "Don't make me turn the car around when we're going to McDonald's," you know? It's just so fucking funny to me. And there are so many moments in it where I was just like so blown away. Like it's a trailer moment, so I don't think it's a spoiler, but like when the world serpent shows up for the first time, that has gone down as like one of my favorite video game moments of all time because it's just the massive scale of that moment and that feeling of like it's so purposeful because you like spend the opening chapters being a literal god, just tearing through Draugr, being a badass, tearing things in half while your kid cheers you the fuck on. And then you encounter something that could so easily kill you if it wanted to. And it just makes you feel so small, even though you are a literal god of war. And it's just so cool. Like just the cinematography of it, love like the mist on the waters, and then just the sound design of that big gruff. It's just, it's so fucking good. And the game is full of moments like that. And I just wanted to say, if you haven't played that game, go play it. It's super fun. I had a great time. And I finished it right when the Ragnarok trailer came out.
That game's two most like influential like visual tells are, of course, the hit film Birdman, which is a movie that has no visual cuts because that's what the God of War cutscenes went for, and Lollipop Chainsaw. And I will not elaborate on that, but everyone knows that I'm right.
I don't know about that one, but you know what I do know?
Really? Because I think that in both of them, the main character has a boyfriend that's just a head strapped to their hip. Because,
my God, you're right. Holy shit.
Sorry, I wasn't going to elaborate, but you made me. So there we go.
Oh, okay, but that's not a spoiler. You don't know why. I mean, that shit's in the trailer, like in the OG Kratos, God of War trailers. Has a hip boyfriend.
I can't believe the Santa Monica Studios just aped Lollipop Chainsaw like that.
Are you saying there's even an achievement if you try and pan the camera to where it looks at Kratos' butt?
Yes, in the next game there will be an achievement if you try to look up Kratos' skirt.
Can we just meditate on that for a second? Who the fuck thought that was a good idea in Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre? Like, I mean, they knew who exactly was playing that game.
I mean, she does kind of stop you. Like,
she does stop you. She does like call you a fucking pervert for trying it.
That game is weird. I think there's a lot of weird things about that game, but also like it's dated.
Style
it
points
is a dated game. Do you know who co-directed that shit?
Kojima?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. I mean, James Gunn is James Gunn. That dude's a little bit wild.
Guardians of the Galaxy Hollywood director James Gunn worked on Lollipop Chainsaw. Do you know who worked on the music for it?
Hans Zimmer.
I'm bummed that I don't know the person's name, but it was the frontman for a little band that you might have heard of, Mindless Self-Indulgence.
What? That sounds on point. That game, actually, now that you say it, that game reeks of fucking like mid 2000s sort of like Fall Out Boy aesthetic music, or like just 3 Days Grace specifically. That kind of energy, you know, like remember "Pain" by 3 Days Grace? I listened to that song. I listened to that song a lot when I was a troubled youth.
We all did, bud.
Okay, speaking of troubled youth, we need to talk about some brand spanking new games. What are we releasing to the world today? AJ, you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll release some horrible ideas into the ether today.
Oh, all right, bring it. What you got? What you got, Short King?
This comes from Caleb Personal Pan Martin, a literal dungeon crawler, because you're a baby.
Oh, I saw this one. Okay, so first thing you and I need to figure out is this like that one movie where we're trying to make sure that like the Baby's Day Out or whatever, where they were like crawling around the city when just just dodging every possible hazard, but coming just a hair so close to just being annihilated. Mm-hmm. Are we setting the dungeon a la like boss fight, or are we the baby going through the dungeon, which I do think is more interesting?
Here's what I want to focus on. Like, I think that we need to like really sit down as a dev team and look at babies first and foremost. Because here's something that keeps on happening with our ding dong video games, right? We sit down to play a video game and it's like, oh, check it out. This one's inspired by Dark Souls. And it's like, oh, check this one out. This one's hard as balls. And it's like, Celeste, have your fun platformer, but it's hard now. And, you know, hey, check out Guilty Gear. And if you pick up Guilty Gear within like 30 minutes, you got to know what wave dashing and Roman counters and backswing juggles are. And I don't know any of those terms because I never learned them from when I was a child. I'm picking up all these terminologies now as a grown-up. And the problem is that we aren't teaching babies how to be pro gamers.
Pro gamer baby. All right.
So when we were kids and we were learning how to play video games, we had shit like Mario Teaches Games, which was like where's Mario with Luigi, and you had to hunt down and do all these fun lessons. We had Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego. We had Pajama Sam. We had all these games that taught us like math and shit. And like babies don't need math anymore. We have calculators and smartphones. What babies do need to know is how to fucking frame cancel. What babies do need to know is how to interrupt.
So are you picturing
babies
this
do
is like
need to know and have mastered is spot dodging.
Okay, so this all feels like fighting game stuff, not necessarily dungeon crawlery though. So are you saying it's a fighting game that is a dungeon crawler? So it's like,
well, if it was a dungeon crawler, it would be teaching babies math. And I, as previously mentioned, I don't think that's important anymore. I don't think words or math is important. I just want babies to be able to beat Dark Souls.
So is this a game where you start as a baby and you grow older throughout the game?
Well, that's how human beings work, bud.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think you grow up over the course of like a session. Like, it's like me playing a game of Hades, and I start the run of Hades as a baby boy, and then I end it as a full ass grown man. Like, which could actually be kind of fun. So you learn new abilities as you grow big, or. Let me pitch you on this because I have God of War on the brain.
I want to create the Dark Souls of Leapfrog.
Okay, so
are you on board with me?
Oh, I'm totally on board with you, but I just the spice I wanted to throw into this is on the surface, it's like it starts off as like a baby game, but I'm wondering as the game goes on, because obviously you're fighting the stuff that you're coming across throughout this dungeon. Are the fucking kill animations brutal? Like, picture it's like a baby like slicing some dude's legs off to where they are on the same level as the baby.
It has to be childy. I don't think it gets any more violent than like say Knack 2.
What?
You know Knack, the hit PlayStation game Knack, everyone's favorite poster child for the PlayStation Knack.
I've never played Knack. I always see like the art, and I was always curious. What is that game?
Worry,
but then I never
literally nobody has ever played Knack. I'm just using it as a touchstone because like I think all of us know who Knack is, but none of us have played Knack.
Now people are too busy playing Drake's Uncharted. That game was a little bit more impactful when the PlayStation
We'll
launched.
do Uncharted for babies another time. Right now, I want to create a video game that makes a real gamer out of a toddler.
So, okay, so that tells me it needs to be like an instructional thing, right?
Yes.
Do you need to... Okay, is this
like... This is Pajama Sam, and he says, come on, we're going to go fight the bad guys. And then Pajama Sam takes the toddler, and very quickly on, like, you know, we have to start off with basic platforming. But I think that, like any Leapfrog game, we'll have the games broken down by grades. And so, like, I think what we can really sit down here, like, is we can just kind of sit down and think of a lesson plan for what we expect kids to know by 4th grade. Okay. What does a child need to know how to do by the time 4th grade happens? I definitely think that within 3rd grade, we're teaching them about perfect parries.
I think, moreover, I feel
grade,
like the early years are all about
management
defense.
and hitbox cheating, and then I don't think we get into frame canceling until 5th grade.
You're naming so many fighting game terms, and dude, I don't play fighting games, so I have zilch input for you here. This is a game where you're talking. This is a game where you need to steer the ship on shit, because I'm like,
I don't think it's unreasonable to expect a second grader. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that a second grader should have wave dashing like natural, like perfectly understood. Like momentum physics within video games, a second grader knows these things.
So are you picturing this as like, okay, I have a kid and I have decided that I am going to make their life about becoming a pro fighting gamer.
What else would you bother wanting them to learn in their hobbies? But
I would want them to know defense.
They don't need math.
No, you're right. They don't need math. They don't need history. They don't need none of that shit. They just need to know how to cancel frame. That's it. So So I feel like the early years, it's all about defense, right? It's all about countering. It's all about understanding how to dodge and how to maneuver around people. It's all about
placement. It's platforming. It's dodging. It's things like that. Yes, of course.
So the way I'm looking at this then, just kind of trying to, because we're talking about ideas. We're not talking about putting this in gameplay yet. The advanced kids will be able to make reads
by the time they're in second grade.
So if this is a dungeon crawl, is this moreover like you go room to room, but each room introduces you to a new mechanic, or it operates off of a new thing? So it's like, oh, hey, you just walked into a room where you can't attack. Like, you can't throw punches. There's a curse on this room. You can only dodge and counter. So it'll be like if somebody throws a punch at you.
The first game is just dodging and countering, and I think that within the first grade version of this game, Drulgen Crawler, maybe Dungeon Toddler. Oh, maybe it'll be like Dungeon Crawler, Dungeon Toddler, Dungeon Runner. And that'll be like the progression of the whole game. But I don't really think in Dungeon Crawler, it's mostly just like dodging enemies and waiting for them to like hurt themselves in a funny little animation where like they do something and then they poopy them pants and then they die. But like during these things, it's like it's like those easier dungeon crawlers where you see like the big red beam come from the enemy and then you know not to be standing there. But when you hit Dungeon Toddler, the sequel to Dungeon Crawler, there is no red boxes. You just simply see the enemy rear up for an animation and the child needs to know where not to be, which they should have mastered by now.
I love this because, like, if you fail at something, it'll be like, hey, you need to practice, load up disc 2 again, and go through it.
Yeah. The little leapfrog guy comes on and he says, are you having problems? Why don't you go ahead and put in the old game?
You know what I'm so excited about with this game? So say we do it and we release it on a bunch of like CDs that people can buy. I just picture seeing this at a Scholastic book fair of it's just like baby just like punching the fucking lights out of like some Draugr or some zombie or whatever enemy that this little baby dude is fighting.
This will be the kind of game that like you'll see IGN articles about being like, are games too tough now?
I played this with my kid.
Yeah,
are like, games too tough now?
Both of those articles in tandem. What I want to create is like, you know how like right now, if you and me hopped into Fortnite, we would be absolutely decimated by some people that just are able to build entire fortresses within 3 seconds. And you and I will see that and be like, oh my God, this person is so good.
How is this possible?
And then you could smash cut to the other side and it's like a kid with some appy slices and like a thing of Mountain Dew that he stole from the fridge. You know what I mean? Like we are absolutely being destroyed by like 11-year-olds in Fortnite regularly. And I don't think that that's something that we should veer away from. I think that we need to lean into that, hone it, and turn it into a craft.
That's our market.
That's our market. Because like you already see this in parents with like beauty pageants and things, right? And like parents that get way too involved with their kids' soccer matches. I wanted to do that, but for gamers. I think it's time that gamers become overly involved in parents.
I'm going to give you a different game now. Is that all right?
Children should have their Smash main decided very early on. That way they can decide on what sort of gamer they want to be long term.
Also, did you read the person that submitted this? I don't know if I heard it.
Just to be certain, I will read it again. Caleb Personal Pen Martin at Isithius.
All right, so this next one comes to us from Squid Pope, a game on Reddit, a game where you infiltrate a book club despite having never read a book in your wretched life. What's Price and Prejudice? What's Price? Is it Price and Prejudice or Prize and Prejudice?
I don't know what the intention was. I know the actual book is Pride and Prejudice, but the idea of you going into a book club and be like, oh boy, I love Price and Prejudice, and people looking at you like, what did you just say?
Well, no, I was thinking, okay, so hold on. I'm wondering if this is like something, because a common thread that you and I were talking about.
I don't know what Pride and Prejudice is about. I know what Pride, Prejudice,
like zombies,
and Zombies
right?
is about.
Yeah, okay, that's the book I was thinking. I read horror.
You know Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies was a parody on Pride and Prejudice, right?
You're totally, man. Yeah, man. Like I totally knew that.
I don't know. That's a bit.
So I'm not gonna elaborate on that further. So what I'm picturing this is, it could be one of two things. You're watching a Let's Play of Danganronpa right now, and the trials
Finished it,
are
actually,
like
baby. Finished Danganronpa 2. Thank you, ProZD and Jay.
Wait,
you two are great.
Wait, you finished the second one? I thought you were watching the second one.
Just the first one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, continue the story.
So like how in the trial there are a bunch of mini games that are done. So you like spell things out or you have to remember details from things. I'm wondering if you can take that concept and apply it to a book club where everybody's asking questions about the book and you need to like either pick up on context clues that people are talking about and then be able to regurgitate it, or you need to fake shit in the moment. And that kind of... And I'm trying to figure out, like, is there a game there?
You're proposing a visual novel that exists entirely through the idea of, like, it is a group of people doing a book club. You need to pretend that you've actually read this book. And it will be a game that, for people that have read the book, will be a cinch. But for people that have not read the book, it will give them the, like, when they're done with this game, they will know the core themes and ideas of Pride and Prejudice.
Yes. But another game
really quick,
that is...
What I need to understand what you are pitching is gamifying any high school, college level literature class, right?
Yes.
This is any sophomore college English high school class.
Well, I'm trying to figure out, like, if you can... I wonder if there is something you can do just to build on this further. But if this doesn't work, I also have another version of this game where I feel this could also be a really good hidden role game where you play with a bunch of your friends that have read books and you have to figure out which among you has not read a book.
Because I didn't read my high school books.
Yeah, but did you read the Spark Notes?
No.
Oh, you didn't read Spark Notes? Did you just like?
Okay.
Did you just fucking wing it? Like,
I just wung it.
Because I thought you were in AP English.
Hell yeah, I was in AP English. That doesn't mean I read anything.
How the fuck did you pull that off? How did you like fake how'd you fake your way into being smart?
Context clues, baby. I'm a quick learner. Fast, instinctual. People like, you know what I mean? Like every test you ever receive, like if you just scroll down the page a little bit, it'll have the answer to the previous questions. They always do that.
God.
They never think about that.
Oh God. That's right. You know the amount of tests I was able to just fucking ace in my anatomy class.
Fuck no. You think I read Snowfalling on Cedars? No. I read a couple chapters of it, I got bored of it, and I stopped reading. And then at the end, when the mystery, like about halfway through the book, I was like, I bet you there wasn't even a murder. Lo and behold, like, stupid.
So, okay, hold on. This is bringing up a really interesting idea to do at the end of this. So you go through, this is like a game with two phases. Are you telling me that
you read all of your English high school books?
No, fuck no. I also did context clues. Okay. I just had enough context clues to get like a C grade in it. The only book I read, I did not have enough focus or like control of my anxiety to read when I was really young. So like the first time I actually read a book and fell in love with reading was The Great Gatsby. Because I just, for some reason, that book was just like, whoa, there's so much drama. There's so much visual stimulus in here. There's people cheating on each other. This is like Hamilton. There's just so much drama here.
Helps that it was a really short book too.
Yeah, that also helped it out a lot. It was a little bit easier for me to digest than 1984.
Oh, damn, what was that Ayn Rand book that I stopped reading because it just like was tough to read? Some
all
book
of
where
them. All of Ayn Rand books are fucking massive, and I'll say a little bit dry.
It was a really short book. It was just like the gimmick of it was that the motherfucker didn't know how to use the word I. And so, like, everybody used the word we instead.
Oh, that's right. Ayn Rand. I forget which book that is. It's not Atlas Shrugged. It's
the other one. Anyway, I stopped reading that one because it was pretty, like, kind of, like, blatant about the themes that it was trying to, like, question. And, like,
are you saying Ayn Rand is a little bit on the nose and not subtle about her writing? How dare you? How dare you?
Dude, I didn't read that.
I think Ayn Rand's books are like really good in concept, and I love the Spark Notes versions of Ayn Rand books. And I like the media that her books have inspired. Like BioShock, the series is very inspired by Ayn Rand stuff. Fuck, Andrew Ryan is a play on her name. Like
that tracks.
Yeah, so and like a lot of the concepts that he has in that game are based off Ayn Rand shit. So I'm wondering if you can do a thing at the end of this game. So the first phase is you're trying to make sure you don't get kicked out of this book club for whatever reason. And then you need to write the Spark Notes page after this meeting. So you need to take in all of the context stuff. You need to take in everything that you faked, and you need to write this fake ass article or this summary of this book, and then it'll take maybe that's a fill in the blank thing, like you remember names, you remember dates, you remember locations, you remember themes, whatever, and then it'll grade you at the end of it, and that'll say if you can come back to the next book club meeting where it's a completely new book and you just don't want to, and you just don't fucking read. So why is your character there? Like, why is your character
because
trying to
they're a high schooler in their college, or they're a high schooler in their English class, and they just need to pass the grade.
Oh, so maybe the game opens with them failing. Like, hey, have you ever had that conversation with a teacher?
No, I was so good at this game, bud. Like,
oh God, who was it? I think it was my science teacher that pulled me aside and said, hey, you're failing and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm like, oof. Well, is there anything I could do about it? No. Like I said, there's nothing you could do about it.
Damn.
I think it was Spanish. I fucking flunked Spanish like super hard, which, that's a little bit bad. I should have learned Spanish living here in LA. A lot of people speak Spanish out here. And most of my family speaks Spanish. Should learn it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, okay, so so maybe the game opens up with you're finding out you're failing, and you are told, hey, you need to go to this book club to maybe make up some stuff. You can make up credit. That's the name. That's the name of the game, dude.
Make up credit. Yes, that rules.
Yes.
And the whole gimmick is that if you're able to pass this book club and prove that you've read like these like 4 books, then you will be given a passing grade. The catch is that your character is still very lazy and will not read. Or maybe like in universe, the character does read the books, and so you, the player, have to like make guesses.
Yeah,
kind of like how like you were mentioning those moments in Danganronpa where the character will sit down and be like, well, then this must mean, and then it gives you 3 options, and you, the player, have to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Wait a second, AJ, hold on, no. I have the fucking best idea to spice this shit up. This is a book club where nobody has read the book. Everybody is making shit up. No, stick with me here. So maybe it's like, no, wait, hold on. I just had a galaxy brain thing. You know how like in the tuning exams of Naruto, everybody who took the test, it was asking questions that nobody knew, but there were 2 people that were like placed in the test room, and it was a whole test on how well you can just steal information. This is a game like that. So everybody in the book club, save for like one person, is telling lies, is making up bullshit, and you need to figure out how. Yes, you have to figure out. Yes, so you have to figure out how to correct them, but also find out what is the truth. Like, oh my God, I would play the fucking shit out of this game, because it's like you have to figure out like maybe every like book club meeting ends with somebody being discovered. So like it's like every week the book club gets smaller because somebody has to be kicked out
like
for whatever reason.
The teacher is the judge in it, and he'll be like, now obviously this scene tells us what about a general firefighter in the book Fahrenheit 451, and one kid's like, well, obviously it says that the firefighter was an undercover cop and he hates books, and then you have to be like, wait, no, but that's not true. It couldn't be true because it's implied 3 times in the book that the chief does read books that were confiscated, and he's doing it on the down low the whole time.
Oh my god! So this is like,
and then like the judge is like, very good,
holy
main character.
The main character.
Like that's what you're proposing this whole game is, right?
Yes. You're trying to figure out. So every book. So here's the thing. Actually, just like Danganronpa, it's like the murder isn't the same every time, obviously. So the person that doesn't read isn't consistent week to week. Because there were like some people, so there were like some people who were like, oh, I didn't read a chapter, or they say they read a chapter during English class or whatever, but it turns out they didn't.
So the teacher sat down with this group of 6 students, and he said, all of you are failing the class. You will be now put into a Burners book club. If any of you go a week
that's a great name, by the way. Burners Book Club.
The whole group of you will fail. I'm offering this as a final test. And so you're not only just like covering to prove that you read the book, you're correcting other people so that they can be like, oh yeah, that's right. So that the teacher will pass all of you. You're covering for each other.
Oh, interesting.
Or I should say you are covering for everybody, because every week there will be one kid that doesn't read.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's moreover, it's like you either cover for everybody and it makes it look like, but no, that's less boring, because it's like, I think what made Danganronpa work is that there is somebody among you lying. But the thing that makes this different is you yourself are also lying. So to make sure you don't get thrown under the bus when people are constantly asking you questions, you need to figure out who among the people asking you questions is actually lying about their questions. It's like, I forget the game that we're playing, but I think it's Werewolf, of like when you're asking vague enough questions to where you're not giving it. It's like playing Spyfall. I don't know if you've ever played that.
I was going to say, I don't know who you're playing Werewolf with, but whenever I play Werewolf, it's just bold and baseless accusations on your friends.
Well, it's okay. I guess Spyfall's a better example. Have you ever played that game or heard of that game?
No.
So it's a hidden role game. Everybody, it's a phone game. So one of you is an imposter, while everybody else knows a location that this is taking place in, and you're given a role. So it's like it's a cafeteria. One person's a chef, one person's a janitor, one person doesn't know the location. So everybody asks other people questions to let other people know that they know the location, but not enough to give it away to the spy. It's a very fun game. So I'm wondering if this plays a lot like that, where it's like you're asking general questions and you have to ask enough to where it doesn't give it away. That way you don't know everything off the gate, but you can kind of get the context and narrow it down. That way, when the time comes where you need to correct somebody, you have enough context clues to correct them and expose them as the liar. And in front of the teacher, and then they get kicked out. That way they fail, but the whole group doesn't.
Okay.
So it's this blew up into a game. Yeah, this game blew up into a game like I was not expecting this to go that fucking hard, and I am super stoked about it. All right, you give me a game.
This comes from Western Meadow on Twitter at B10_Baloo. Chewing Gum Simulator. Now I'm in a high school brain space right now. And if there's one thing that I know from my time in high school, is that the second you bust out some chewing gum, some bubble gum, a little bit of spearmint, anything, I bust out a little thing of Hubba Bubba, I'm
Everybody
top dog
looks
in
at
that
you.
room. I own that room. I'm a fucking king. Oh, y'all want these Trident layers?
Oh, it was Trident for you? It was 5 gum for my schools. Like everybody wanted 5 gum.
Ooh.
That was like if you showed up with like 5 gum Cobalt.
Experience of chewing 5 gum, you are a god.
So what are you saying? Is this like a prison simulator where you're just handing out gum to get people to build your... Wait, hold on a second. So, okay, this is definitely going off script of the original submission a little bit because it's talking about chewing gum. I think we need to do a little bit more than that. I'm wondering, you remember the kid that would always show up with a duffel bag of snacks and would sell stuff? Sell bags of chips, bags of gum. I had an open campus on
high school, so I did not have any sort of Frito-Lay smuggling operation. Although, here's the thing, my cousin in middle school was operating a Monster Energy drink smuggling situation because they were not close enough to any stores. So the middle school had that sort of setup going on, but not the high school. You had to get in early to get that buck.
So I'm wondering if we can make a game about that kid. And the immediate thing that stands out to me is, okay. One visual that stands out to me is like a percentage of like how many kids in the school are actively chewing gum. Like, let's say the moment it goes above 80%, it arouses suspicion. So you need to balance like making sales, but never going above like, okay, I need to make sure I never like 80% of the school... more than 80% of the school's chewing gum, because the moment it goes above that percentage, they'll be like, okay, there's a smuggling ring going on and we got to crack down on it. So it makes like, a gum runner. But that's just one of the products you sell. You can also be doing Monster Energy drink. Well, guess what? The more Monster Energy drink you sell, maybe people get a little bit caffeinated and become merry pranksters. That increases the amount of prankage going on at the school and makes either your job selling shit more difficult because there's always going to be. I went to
eyes.
Yeah, I went to a school where there were police officers on campus at all times, so my school experience was a little bit more like stressful, but I'm wondering if you did this thing where it's like, this is a school that takes that shit wicked seriously. So they're like, so the more like you wheel and deal and are selling gum, there's just like way more security. They're like actual, like they go full bore. It's like, well, there's watchtowers on campus now where they have binoculars and they can see.
So this is a full business simulator while you are trying to sell and distribute what's it called?
Gum and other illegal substances. But it's just chewing gum and Frito-Lays.
It's chewing gum. It's snacks. It's corded earphones. So it's earpods so people can listen to music in class.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, where they do the thing where they feed it through their sleeve and just like rest on their sleeve
so you can listen to music. Yeah, baby.
God. Oh my god.
It's all the classic rule breakings within high school. You're selling the late game stuff is, of course, and this goes back to, you mentioned me being in the AP classes. The high level stuff you can be selling is those AP course textbooks, because let me tell you, Blake, that's a free hall pass.
This shit's expensive, dude. That shit's like really, really tough. I mean, but you're selling like maybe we modernize it a little bit.
You're gonna make a lot of money off
of those books.
No. Oh, Blake, no, I'm not talking about for the knowledge. No, I'm saying that if you had an AP textbook in my high school, if you were out of class, so you went to the restroom, but you had an AP textbook with you, nobody asked you what you were doing.
Wait,
it was a free hall pass. Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck? That's a thing?
I mean, it wasn't like
you're a smart kid, so you don't have to deal with the rules that everybody else has because you're smart. Oh, I mean, yeah. That's bullshit. That's dumb. I was a dumb high school kid, and I deserve to be cut in class just like the smart kids. It's bullshit.
Sorry. Oh, me? Sir. Oh, I'm sorry.
Me, sir? Can you not see how big my fucking brain is?
Can you not tell by my AP US history textbook sitting on this table that obviously I am here studying for class on a personal study time that I've been given an exemption from Mr. Prunty? Obviously.
That's bullshit. That's fucked up. I don't like that. That's not fun.
Anyway, that's
fucked up. Oppression to stupid people. Oppression to me. That's not cool.
Anyway, that is how my high school operated.
It's fucked up. I didn't want to read Lord of the Flies, and now I'm being oppressed. That's fucked up.
But again, that's why we're going to be selling this smuggling game. That's going to be one of those late game items. But you can't give out too many of those because, again, then people will get suspicious. And then all of a sudden the AP books will be, the rules will be enforced for them again. And then you got to fall back and be like, okay, I got to bring some of these back. I got to take some of those out of circulation so that the demand for them goes up.
Let me pitch you on something. So this is a game, this is a business simulator, and this is about a kid who's like on the inside trying to like just work under the radar of the school.
Yeah, under the radar, making a buck.
That tells me he has people to pay off, like that he can't do this by himself. So I'm wondering if part of your daily costs is getting information and statistics from like an assistant that works in the principal's office that gives you like, hey, these are the amount of kids that are in the AP classes. Never go above that percentage.
You're paying off the local drama department teacher. Let's be honest.
But you know what's so funny?
I guess in your case, with your experience, it would have been your film teacher. But it's the same archetype. You and I both know this.
No. I honestly, knowing the drama teacher at my high school, he had definitely more of a chaotic energy than my film teacher had. And he would definitely have broken rules. But I love this because in the background is like the reason the drama teacher's doing it is because they're writing a play based off of the drama going on around the school and how you're like the center of it. So like maybe the game ends like upon like you are strutting. You have a bunch of money. You have like Frito money in your pocket, and you're taking a night out to go to a play based off of your shenanigans. And then the game ends with just like security officers breaking down the door and like shutting the play down and like arresting you for like. And then I don't know if it becomes like this sort of like run game where you're escaping security, but it's also like super low level because what are they gonna do? Arrest you? No, they can't. They're just gonna. It's just like it's high school level like reprimands, but taken way fucking seriously. It's like that one anime that's like super slice of life, and they're just doing run of the mill things. But like, no, it's not prison school. Don't. As much as that series is appropriate, it's inappropriate. So so it's this balance of like, okay, you need to make sure you make enough money to pay off all of your contacts. And those are the contacts that either cover for you in certain areas of the school. Oh, what I don't know if you had something like this, but each building of my school was a different department. So like one of the buildings is all for like science, another is for all home ec, the other is for like English stuff. So each of those buildings has different rules, operations, schedules. Like there are different teachers that you.
The AP US history book does nothing in building 2, but if you can get your hands on a calculus book, that's
so
money.
maybe that's how this game advances is like you make enough money to buy something that allows you access to different areas to sell to new areas.
Exactly. Yes.
So maybe the game starts where you can only sell during like between classes, so that 15-minute period, or during lunchtime or before and after school. But as it goes on, you can start selling during like class time. So you have this thing of like you get more resources, you get more things to sell, you get more like ability or like consumables. Maybe we can use this. That's a good point for what some of the consumables could be for towards the end of the episode if we decide to go with this game. And that allows you to make more money, pay off bigger people. What is the end game? Like, do you own the school at the end of this? Like, you have the principal on the take?
What is the end game for this? I think that the end game, you know what it is it's an end game with multiple, like, benchmarks. I think that with it being a business simulator, there's a timer, right? From a timer to graduation. And based on the kind of influence and money that you're making regularly, like you have a financial benchmark, that would qualify the different endings. Now, I'm not certain what those endings would be.
No, let me pitch you on something. So the different endings are, this is your senior year. Yes. And rather than like focusing on getting all of your senior year classes in, you're like, all right, you're made. You have great grades, you have whatever. You are selling stuff over the course of this year to afford your college. And depending on how well you do during that year dictates what college you can afford to go to.
Oh,
so maybe something like that. So like over the course of the game, maybe like depending on what you invest in, or like maybe who are your contacts becoming, that kind of dictates like, oh, I want to go into business school. Oh, I want to become a scientist. Oh, I want to become a teacher myself, which would be kind of ironic. At the end of this, it's like, you know what? I feel like I could run a school, and they become principal or something. Or a principal.
I love this. I love that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Blake, it's time that we need to figure it out. We need to decide on a nug. And for the first time in a couple of weeks, I'm at a crossroads. I don't know which one seems like the right one for us. So far, we have a business simulator where you are a gum runner. We have a video game where you are a detective trying to parse your way through books that you have not read. And then we have Leapfrog, but for real gamers.
I think I'm going to count that one out because I don't know if we really found what the gameplay was of that. It feels like we talked about concepts, but never really nailed out, like, okay, this is what level 1 looks like. I feel we got that with Gum Runner and Hot Books, so Burner Book Club, I think is what you used, and I think that's a great name for that.
Burner
game.
Book Club is good. You know what I also love about Burner Book Club is that it falls under the same part of my brain that, like, now, part of the reason why I passed AP Euro and got the college credits for that is because I was watching Hetalia at the time. And I feel like Burner Book Club is a little bit of the same thing about, like, it would help people pass their English class, not because they read the books, but because they've played Burner Book Club.
Okay. I think it comes down to this. I think they're both good game ideas, but I think just because I don't want to make a game that we can't use our modifiers on, I don't necessarily think Burner Book Club has a whole lot of opportunity for modifiers unless it's like something, unless it's like you get abilities or items that can like make the game easier or make the after book or like the I don't know what you would call it, like in
the only way I can see consumables
trial.
Being an option is that if consumables would give you some way to retry failed attempts, or they would help you grow social bonds with the other characters that are part of this club.
Yeah, I don't know, but that feels like then you and I would be picking the consumables and not necessarily opening it for the floor to the people that submitted them. So I'm going to say Gum Runner because there is a lot of leeway in that. And admittedly, I think I'm more passionate about it because it's just like, it just sounds fun. I've never played a business simulator.
And let's find out what that game really kind of looks and plays like. And I think those consumables will help us out.
Okay, this one comes to us from Patrick Skelly, an unconvincing wig. I love that idea because that's an item you can get that makes you look older. No, it makes you look older, right? So then you can have access to some of the office areas. So maybe as the game goes on,
super senior, and so you're able to go into spaces that super seniors are allowed to go to that normal students aren't. Like, a super senior is allowed to go into like the detention room without being investigated. I know that that's typecasting a little bit, and like not to be mean to super seniors, but like you are given permission to go into spaces that maybe a more responsible, more adult figure is allowed. You're given keys
where they
more
just
often.
assume that you, where you're assumed that you're not going to cause any trouble. Yeah, I get that. I get that. So but this the way this thing could be used not only to access new areas. I wonder if this is a way of reducing the amount of people you have on your take. So like rather than having that contact who's working in the principal's office, guess what? You can just go into the principal's office at the beginning of the day to collect the information that you need. And I'm wondering, so yes, you're spending less money, but does that cause like maybe this person's out for you? You were like, hey, we had a good thing going. You were paying me like $100 a day. Why I need that money again? So I wonder if that's like maybe it's either they become an enemy. And they could be, that's one thing we didn't talk about is like, are there people that you wrong throughout this game and end up making things difficult? So like, wow, so now you pissed off an AP student, it reduces the amount of percentage of people that can have AP books.
Now,
so
this
because
opens
maybe
up the
there's
floor.
somebody that's reviewing it.
Talking about the idea of characters being wronged and the idea of gaining access into spaces that you wouldn't normally be allowed into. I'm now really curious about what this game actually looks like because I was imagining something with a lot of menus and like a visual novel type element where you were just kind of cycling through menus and backgrounds.
I was picturing Prison Simulator.
Being,
it feels like a top-down, like sort of chibi-looking thing.
So top-down, maybe pixel art. There is visual, maybe something akin to, like it would look like Harvest Moon. Nope, not Harvest Moon. What's the other one that people really like?
No, AJ. It looks like Helltaker. It's just a really cute little top-down aesthetic, but then when people start talking, it goes into hyper-detailed stuff.
How people are moving around. What was the farming game that everybody likes that you can play co-op?
Stardew Valley.
Valley. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when it comes to the close-ups, or it gives you the little window of a close-up of that character, there is more detail there. Yeah, that's a perfect example, because it's like it's pixelated, but it's not like pixelated to the point where it feels like older. It just feels like an aesthetic choice, but it's very light. I think that's a great aesthetic, because then you can like see different areas, like different buildings, and like some of them are locked, like you don't have access to them for whatever reason. There's like in front of every building, there's some staff sitting there being like, hey, show me X item, and that gives you an idea of like, oh, this is the item I need to have to get into this area. Hey, where's your AP book? Like, you can't come in here without your AP book. This is the AP area. So then you have to go through the game, you have to build a contact that has a connection with the book storage room. So now you can not only get a book for yourself, you have a stash of books you can be just swiping from to sell to kids at a cheaper price, but still profitable to you.
Now, this opens up two incredible things. One, I love the idea then that as your stock and things go up, with an environment that you're actually walking around, you'll be able to see the outcomes of your actions. If you're selling a lot of history books, then when you walk around, you're going to see more students in the communal area with the books on the table while they're, air quotes, studying. But with the inclusion of stocks, I'm going to propose to you a item from Turtle Lover 2244, a coupon book.
Oh,
now here's my new suggestion. We mentioned that there's a timer until the end of your class year. What if at the beginning of every day you start it in your own home? And as you leave the home every day, maybe once a week, you can find a coupon book sitting on the kitchen table. This will be a list of deals from the actual store nearby, so you can refill your stock every single week. This would be a way for you to, on the cheap, get more gum, more energy drinks, more whatever. But every week, those are going to be a little bit different because of the coupon book.
Yeah, so it's like you can dictate what your game plan is at the top of the week. So like you get a coupon book on, let's say, Monday, and be like, okay, here's the coupon for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it's random every single time. So it's like, okay, maybe I can make a real profit off of Monster Energy drinks this week.
Yes.
So it's like, so you stop by like, oh, that'd be a great thing to do, actually.
It's reactive stock management, and we love that.
So how about this? So the cycle of every day starts with you at a market. So like it's you at like a little quickie mart or like some sort of like Stop and Shop. And that's how every day begins. Is like, okay, what do you want to buy with you when you go to work, quote, work that day? And guess what? That's another upgradable, is as the game goes on, your duffel bag for stock gets bigger and bigger.
Ooh, yeah.
So it's like at the beginning of the game, maybe you can only hold like 4 Monster cans and 2 bags of Fritos and a pack of gum. But as the game goes on, it's like, oh, you got like a nice little roller case. And then maybe you unlock the roller case when you become tight with the drama department. It's like, so anybody who sees you walking with that case, it's like, oh, that person's just bringing props to the drama department for their play that's going on. So it's like all of the upgrades are maybe story based, not necessarily like purchased at all.
We could throw in some NPCs, and these progressions could be character based. Perhaps you only get the coupon book if you are tied to a certain character. Perhaps you only get the drama department's roller case if you have made good ties with the drama department teacher. Things like that.
Well, as far as the coupon book, I think you could build, because I see an obvious NPC being the shop owner, and I'm wondering, like, after it's like you spend like, let's say $500, be like, hey, you spend like money here pretty consistently every day. Here's a coupon book. And that you unlock that, not only that item, but you unlock a closer relationship with the store owner.
Yes.
And you could do some fun stuff with that, and then you can then spend less money at the top of the day as you bring in your stock for that day. And guess what? If you bring in the wrong stock, maybe there's people that are only looking for specific things throughout the school. So like your day is spent finding the people that want to buy what you have. And then once you sell everything, you can spend the rest of the day talking to NPCs, working on relationships, making connections. Because I'm wondering if you could only restock once a day.
Locker space. Well, you have different shops in different buildings that are tied to different lockers, but you need to buy the locker in that space. And like you would buy the locker by paying off a student to say, hey, I know you don't use your locker, or hey, I heard through the grapevine that you don't use your locker. I want to open up a shop over there. Can I buy this locker from you? And then you would open up a new shop in a new building. And yeah, like the PE building, those kids don't want Monster Energy drinks. But if you got some Gatorades, you got some protein shakes over there.
Yeah,
you got some, baby.
You got just literal like buckets of protein powder.
Yes, because like they only keep Gatorade and like Dr. Pepper in the vending machines in the sports building, which is weird. So like if you can bring something like just some nice water. Just water.
So let me ask, so this is about building your empire, right? Are you going to get like, like in Fallout, you get like a +1, like you get your follower and maybe 2 with like a robot or a dog. Are you going to get like, you can build connections with NPCs and then bring them into your empire with you?
I think there will be different NPCs that have different big bonuses. We mentioned that the drama department will give you a bigger case and bigger cases so you can bring more stuff in.
Well, no, I mean in the sense of like
with somebody, what's it called when you go in and you talk to a counselor to help you plan out your school career? If you make if you make a good connection with them, then they might be like, hey, I know some students that are interested in business management. Maybe you'd like to talk to them. I know you have a good mind for it. And then you can open up, like you'll get one underclassman, which you can then have be like, hey, why don't you go ahead and go sell in one of the other buildings for me?
Yeah, because that's what I'm picturing is like a natural progression of business games, I feel, is like having more people under your guidance. So like them being like, hey, I'm assigning you to strictly sell in the AP wing. I'm assigning you to strictly sell in the robotics wing.
I want to keep that number limited because I want you as the player to constantly be thinking about those other markets.
Because so maybe we just don't do it at all then.
And it turns into an idle game. Then like, what's the point of like having all these moving pieces?
So how about nothing at all? It's all just about relationships, and you have to sell your stock at the beginning and end of over the course of the day.
Yeah.
And this is like, depending on how well you do over the course of a year, dictates what business school you get to go to. Because I'm feeling like, okay, this is a person that wants to do business, right? And then you so you figure out like, oh, hey, here's your score. You get to go either to CSUN or a community college, or because CSUN, I believe, has like one of the best business. That's a local college to me, and I think it's known for its business department.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like, just as an example.
Yeah, we'll have a list of like 4 different possible endings that are based on how good you did over your financial year.
Okay. Dude, I'm actually really hyped about this game, and the stank on this game is that it's pretty sleazy, because you are like basically taking over a school. That's the stank on this game, is you are getting everybody on your take as the game kind of goes on. But it's like, it's sleazy, but at the same time, you're just selling fucking monsters. You know what I mean?
It's sleazy in the way that like there's a real world like discomfort to the idea of the gum runners that we have in high schools. Like we all know they exist, and like it's not like they're doing anything morally wrong, but no one really knows how to think about them.
Yeah, that's true, because it's like they're obviously still hiding something, but the thing that they're hiding isn't that fucking big of a deal, you know? It's just, I think it only feels weird because it's like our schools told us to feel weird about it.
Well, and we are selling things expressly for the purpose of breaking rules.
That's true.
Like we're selling corded headphones so that people can listen to music in class, and we're selling Monster Energy drinks despite us not supposed to be drinking those.
You're also selling stolen stuff eventually.
We are selling stolen books.
What if this is like a Breaking Bad thing where it's like this kid starts in earnest, as most of those gum runners do. They're like, hey, I can make an extra $1 for every gum thing.
And then it turns into alcohol in the snack tea bottles.
No, it doesn't turn into alcohol. It turns into like
sure how deep you were going here.
No, I was just saying, like, well, I mean, stealing textbooks it's a big deal. Like, if you were caught stealing a textbook, you could be expelled. Like, that's a pretty horrible, not a horrible offense, but it's like, that's
definitely the kind of offense that you would get in trouble for. If people found out that you were snagging books from the library, you're going to get, like, in trouble for that one.
Totally. And then you're also like cut in class eventually, like, because you've paid off your teachers, and then teachers. What would a teacher get paid off? Is like a teacher just sees Cobalt 5 gum, my favorite. Please, just go do whatever you want, man.
I think teachers are less like paid off; they are bribed so that they give you permission. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things of like there will be classes that you're not able to get out of until you've progressed that teacher's bond, and then like once you're tight with that teacher, the teacher's like, yeah, you can take an air quotes restroom break whenever you want.
Oh, and here's one thing that could be cool too. Just to go back to
science teacher that I was like, I was on the football team for 2 years, and I had a science teacher that was one of my coaches. And every time like the class was like work time, I left his class and went to the drama department and just hung out there for a class period. Like that was a real thing that I did in high school.
Well, okay. So, because I don't think we touched on it enough, I want to go back to the unconvincing wig a little bit and see how that plays into the gameplay. I'm wondering, because if we're leaning into this game being like it starts out earnest and you're doing like I guess against the rules thing, but it isn't so bad to your character becoming like a kind of bad kid. I'm wondering if eventually you get the principal fired and you wearing this unconvincing wig kind of take on the role of the principal. So
that is most certainly an option. There will be plenty of paths.
Yeah, it's just something along. I mean, I guess by unconvincing wig, I guess it's not necessarily convincing. It's unconvincing to adults, but it works on kids.
I was going to say that the unconvincing wig probably has like a limited amount of people that you can lie to, and it's like the teachers that don't wear glasses.
Oh my God, that's such a gamble, because it's like, oh, I need to let me save before I try this. I'm going to put on the wig and see if I can't tell this person to like let me into this building. And it turns out it doesn't work, and you get sent to like the principal's office, or you get sent to detention. Oh, that would be great, because like if you get sent to detention, you lose out on selling time. So your finances got cut that day. So like maybe they saw your bag, they took it, they confiscated everything, and you lost all your stock for that day. So you took like a negative gain that day. Is negative gain? No, it's negative net, I think. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. You took a loss. Totally. All right. I think that's a game. I think we should call it Gum Runner.
Gum Runner is so good.
I think that's a fun game. All right. Dude, hell yeah. Thank you for the Patreon members that submitted those modifiers.
And thank you to our Reddit and Twitter communities for submitting ideas.
Yeah. Let's go to patch notes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patch Notes. AJ, I'm desperate. I'm real desperate.
I know you're desperate. I've seen your Tinder profile.
That's not the kind of desperate I'm talking about. I am desperate.
Sorry.
Though true, I am desperate for iTunes reviews. We haven't had one in a while, and you know what? That makes me sad. It makes me sad emotionally. It makes me sad as a creator. It makes me sad. It makes me a little hungry, actually, because I get like that empty feeling, and then I'm like, maybe I could have some Frito-Lays, and I tend to feel a little bit better.
Blake, do we need to talk about taking your sense of self and identity from strangers on the internet, or?
No, of course not. I've had that on lock since episode 50. First 50 episodes, maybe not. If you are so kind and like the podcast, please leave us an iTunes review. It greatly helps the channel grow. It greatly helps the iTunes. You want to take this part?
Yeah, it feeds the algorithm gods, and it makes it so that Blake can talk better. More than anything, if you can fix Blake's desperation, he won't be so worried about what he says, and he'll just say the right things. Please help him out. Give us those iTunes reviews.
Do you have 5 minutes to spare for me and my need for iTunes affirmation? Is that the right word? I don't think it is.
That'll do it. Affirmation will do it. You're doing so good, Blake. I'm going to write up a little iTunes review so you know you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Keep those words coming, bud.
If you're so kind, please leave us an iTunes review. I will survive. If you do not, thank you so much for listening this week. We hope you had some laughs.
As always, our intro and outro music is Cheap Shop by Anna Monoguchi, an excellent song from an excellent band for an excellent game. I have been one of your hosts, AJ Hart.
And I have been your other host, Blake Rea. AJ, that's the first time you said I have been one of your hosts.
That's
usually
not true
in the podcast
at all.
saying,
I've been very good about making certain to say one of the other ever since you brought it up in one of the episodes.
That's incorrect. Is this because I said you're shorter than me at the top of the episode? I know it's true and all, but I know you don't like it when I point it out. See you later, suckers. Have a good one.
These are cool games that should not be made.
Wait, take it again.
I'm leaving. As always, this has been Spiritual Successor, and these are cool games
that should not be made.